In the spring of 2025, we took a Viking romantic Danube River cruise. We sailed down the Danube, visiting Regensburg and Passau Germany, Krems and Vienna, Austria, Bratislava, Slovakia, and Budapest, Hungary. Since we did an up and back trip, there may be some of the same shots that one might be cloudy and the same shot with blue skies. I will pre-apologize for any mispronunciations in the videos. Passau, a city in Lower Bavaria, is also known as the City of Three Rivers. It sits at a joint meeting of the river Danube, Inn, and Elz. When we went down the river, we docked about 10 minutes away from the town and bussed in. But on the way up the river, we docked right in the city, minutes away from the old town center. Passau is a pretty compact community in the old town area, so it's difficult to get lost. All the roads eventually lead to the Danube. The pink-colored church is St. Paul's Church. It's also a Baroque church dating back to 1050, making it the oldest parish church in Passau. After being destroyed by a fire in 1512 and then again in 1662, this present building was built in 1678. The Vestier Oberhaus is a fortress that was founded in 1219, and for most of its time it was the stronghold of the Bishop of Passau, Emerensmeer, a Bavarian folk poetess. The Rathausturm, Town Hall Tower, houses the largest Carillion bell in Bavaria. In 1991, a chime with 23 bells was installed, which can be played as an instrument. Additionally, the Martins bell, one of the oldest bells in the city, was cast in 1590. There was a wedding going on. These are not for looks, those are for support. In 1662, a devastating fire consumed most of the city. Passau was subsequently rebuilt in the Baroque style we see today. Passau was secularized and divided between the electorate of Bavaria and the electorate of Salzburg in 1803. The portion belonging to the electorate of Salzburg was ultimately passed to Bavaria in 1805 after the Peace of Pressburg in 1805. Because the area is prone to flooding, some areas have been designated as arts zones, where the first floor residents may be more likely to have lightweight, easily movable furnishings. The general practice is to avoid having residences on the first floor during the flooding. There are high water marks all over the area going back centuries. These can be very slippery when wet, and that is not a reference to the Bon Jovi album. Local artists painted a colorful path in the cobblestones, leading visitors to the doorsteps of many art galleries, businesses, and workshops. In the 2nd century BC, many of the Boii tribe were pushed north across the Alps out of northern Italy by the Romans. They established a new capital here called the Boiorum by the Romans in the district of Passau. The city became a Roman colony called Batavis, and during the second half of the 5th century, Saint Livirnius established a monastery here. The site was subject to repeated raids by the Alemanni, which was a confederation of Germanic tribes. In 739, the recently consecrated English Archbishop Boniface founded the Diocese of Passau which for many years was the largest diocese of the German Kingdom Holy Roman Empire, covering a territory in southern Bavaria and most of what is now Upper and Lower Austria. From the 10th century, the bishops of Passau also exercised secular authority as prince bishops in the immediate area around Passau. There was a wall of flowers up here, all very pretty. You gotta wonder what they find when they do all this digging. During the Renaissance, the early modern period, Passau was one of the most prolific centers of sword and bladed weapon manufacturing in Germany. Passau's population is about 50,000, of whom about 12,000 are students at the University of Passau, renowned in Germany for its institutes of economics, law, theology, computer science, and cultural studies. A little on the darker side, from 1892 until 1894, Adolf Hitler and his family lived in Passau. The city archives mention Hitler being in Passau on 4 occasions in the 1920s for speeches. A young Adolf Hitler almost drowned in the river Inn when he was 4 years old. While playing with other children in 1894, he fell into the river, but was rescued by the son of the owner of the house that they were living in. Enough said there. This was the bishop's residence. The bishop didn't want to have to step up into his carriage, so they installed a door that was a little higher up so he could just walk into it. Before the Holocaust, there was a small Jewish community present in Passau, with Jews being mentioned as early as the 10th century. Unfortunately, in its darker days during World War II, the city also housed 3 sub-camps of the infamous Mauthausen-Gusen concentration camp. On the 3rd of May 1945, the unconditional surrender of Passau was signed by the Burgermeister, the chief of police. It was also the site of a post-World War II American sector displaced persons camp. St. Stephen's Cathedral is a Baroque church from 1688 and is dedicated to St. Stephen. It is the seat of the Catholic Bishop of Passau and the main church of his diocese. Since 730, there have been many churches built on the site of the current cathedral. The current church was built from 1668 to 1693, after the fire in 1662 destroyed its predecessor, of which only the late Gothic eastern side remains. Passau Cathedral used to be the home of the largest organ in the world. It isn't anymore, but it is still the largest church organ outside of the U.S. This was a nice little stopover on our trip.